Good afternoon, everybody, and good morning to those that are on the West Coast. We're going to get started in just a moment. We've got a variety of folks that are still dialing in, so if you can hang tight, we'll get started in just a few moments. Thanks for being with us. Hello, everybody. I hope everybody is having a great Friday. I am sensitive to time, and so I know we've got a couple more people that are going to log in and join us, but I want to go ahead and get underway. So welcome to our kind of standing quarterly site administrators call. So what we're going to do is cover a couple of different things. This is in a webinar format as opposed to a conference call, because the good news is that the site continues to grow and the network of Power to Give users is growing, and so we've maxed out what can be done on a conference call, so we need to do this in webinar style. If you've got questions, please go ahead and type those into your sidebar on your monitor, and we'll be responding to questions as we go through the presentation, and if we don't cover something that that you wanted covered, or you get questions after the fact, please don't hesitate to contact me or Perry or Virginia. Very much want to make sure that you're getting the information you need out of these sessions and staying current on what's going on with Power to Give. So with that, let me go ahead and dive into some of the slides that we've got prepared, and we've got a couple of different demos that we're going to share with you of activities and those kinds of things. So from a agenda perspective, we're going to I'll give you a snapshot update on how things are going with Power to Give expansion. It's one of the questions I get from a lot of folks. Who's launching next? What are the plans? So let me go ahead and update you on that. Run through a couple of the technology items, and then I'm going to turn it over to Perry and Virginia to cover a variety of different items that they're working on throughout the network. So from a visual perspective, this is the current map. So all the states that are green are states that we are active in, and the white dots represent the communities that we're in. So right now we are in 21 different communities across the country and continuing to grow, which is great. And I know that many of you have been on the receiving end. Many of you have been on the receiving end of calls from communities that were looking to launch, and so I appreciate any effort that you made in sharing your experience and background with those other communities. So thank you for that. Upcoming launches, our next one will be in the Tampa St. Pete area, and I think that we've got some of the folks from that team on the call today. So they're looking at a January 22nd launch. Allied Arts in Oklahoma City in late February. Dayton, Ohio with CultureWorks is going to launch at the end of February, and our latest commitment is with the Cultural Council in Palm Beach, Florida, and they'll be coming on in April. So we'll be going from 21 sites to 25 pretty quickly, and we're excited about that. If you know of anybody else in your region or area that might be interested, just give me a shout and let me know, and I'll reach out to them. So, kind of Power to Give by the numbers. We've had a really active past 90 days since our last call. We're currently at, in aggregate, across all the sites nationally, we've raised almost $4.5 million. That's up from the $3.55 million that we had raised on the last call that we had. We've added about 300 new projects across the site and processed over 3,000 more donations in the last quarter. So lots of activity across the country, both from long-standing sites that have been up for a long time and from our new sites that have launched recently. So lots of activity, and we think that's great, and continue to see good trends from that activity. The average project size is up just a little bit from the last time we talked. It was about 4,800 when we talked before, and it's about 4,900 right now. And the average posting period is about 62 days. So we're seeing some projects, obviously, that are going for the full 90, and we see a lot of projects that come off earlier than that, but the average time that a project is on the site is 62 days. And I think we talked about this a little bit on the last call as well, that the average gift is right now running just a little bit over $105. So if you are looking at your site activity and want to kind of benchmark that against the average for the country, you'll know if your community is a little bit higher or lower. But one of the things that drives that a lot is when there's matching grants. And when there's an active match, we know that the average gift is significantly higher, 136, than when there's no match, it's 87. We have found that to be compelling information as we talk to potential funders and possible matching grant providers, because they can really see the impact that they're providing a matching grant has on influencing behavior and influencing generosity, and that ability to increase the average gift by almost 75% when there's a match is significant and meaningful to those matching grant providers. So that's it for the numbers. From a technology perspective, when we talked last time, we were talking about technology enhancements that were going to go into place. Now I'm happy to share that they're all in place and operating, and welcome your feedback and ideas on additional site enhancements. But here's a couple of things that have gone into play in the last 2 months. We've got the link on how to close a project by fully funding it. We found that that's a helpful item and can influence upselling. If someone is thinking that they were going to make a gift for $50, but they can see that easily that it'll take $72 to close the project, they might upsell to the $72 in order to close out the project. So that link has been there to influence donors that might be intrigued by the idea of closing out a project. We've also added project testimonials, and we've seen some great testimonials, and if you're tracking our activity on social media, you'll see that we're pulling some of those donor testimonials that are coming out on projects nationally and showcasing those in some of the social media aspects, and encourage you to think about how you might be able to use the various testimonials for your local project promotions as well. We also included and increased the amount of kind of self-help information that's on the site. We thought that this would be useful as you have additional new staff joining your teams and things like that, and as the posting organizations have new staff. And so each of the input fields, particularly on the submit a project page for the posting organizations, now comes with a pop-up information button that shows details on what can go into that field and gives some helpful hints and tips on the best way to populate that information. If you have ideas on how to make that clearer or more thorough, or if you think that anything could be improved in that those help areas, please let me know. We're happy to update that and make it as useful as possible. Lastly, we also put in place the ability to have international addresses. We had a limitation on the site that it was only accepting U.S. addresses, and so now if someone chooses something other than the United States, they can put in if they're in Canada, they can put in their territory and province rather than being locked into putting in a state and zip code. So it gives a little bit more flexibility for donors that may have different mailing addresses. The key thing for you to remember with that is that also then can potentially change the donor recognition, that if you were doing a letter or a mailing to donors, that you now have you have the potential to have international addresses in your downloads and in the Excel spreadsheets that you've got. So we haven't seen a lot of use of that, but I know that it was something that several of you had asked for and wanted to accommodate donors absolutely, and give them the flexibility for that. So a couple of things that are in the works that you should be seeing shortly. One is we're working on some new email communications, a new email tool that can help us communicate a little bit more with you and with the project posters. So one is that we're working on a new email that can come out to project posters that's kind of a 30-day update. If the average posting time on the site is 62 days, 30 days would obviously be that midpoint mark for an average project posting. And so what we wanted to do is create a kind of a 30-day update that congratulates the project poster on their success to date, and also shares some tips and links to promotional ideas and collateral that can be useful in promoting their projects, so that they can make sure that they bring it to a successful conclusion. Felt like that interim period was important. Right now, the only email that they get from the system is one that they get about 20 days before the project is going to before the 90-day window, and we felt like something earlier in that process would be important. So we'll be working to put that in place. We'll also we've also gotten some feedback that right now, as a site administrator, you guys are all very well aware of the fact that you get an email when a project closes because it's been successfully funded, but you don't get a direct email when a project closes at the 90-day mark. And so we're going to change that and make sure that we get you, as the site administrators, a consistent email that tells you every time a project has closed, whether it's closing because it was fully funded or closing because it's hit the 90-day window, and you won't have to track that manually or anything like that. The other thing that we're working on some gift card upselling functionality that allows the donor, as they are redeeming their gift card, to, with one click, jump immediately to the credit card input screen so that they could also put in a personal gift if they wanted to do that. And so if they're redeeming a $10 gift card, at the time that they redeem that, they'll get a thank you message and an invitation to make a personal gift to that particular project. And so we're working on, we've designed all that right now and are working with the developers to put that in place so that that can happen in the near future. So those are some of the immediate changes that you'll see on the technology side. We've got a long list, which is exciting, of things that we've gotten from you and from internally our own use of the site, of things that we want to work on. And so we're excited to kind of get into January and into the new year, and we'll continue to release new technology updates. I want to share with you now that we've been working on some new marketing materials, trying to make sure that we're getting different things in your hands to make it easier for you to use. So one is that we have a new Power to Give video that is kind of hot off the press. Just saw the last version of it yesterday, so I'm going to play it for you now, and we'll be working on that now so that it's available to you. I'm thankful many of you responded to some requests for pictures, and so what we've designed here is what we think is a video that can be used nationally, so any one of you can use this. It's not unique to any one community, and showcases pictures from around the country, so that, you know, for some of you, you may recognize images that you had sent to us, but wanted to share this with you now, and welcome your feedback. So there you have it, the new Power to Give video. You'll be getting an email with more information on how you can use it and access it. We'll probably be getting it up onto the SharePoint site shortly. There's going to be two versions of it. You may have noticed at the end there was one that talked about purchasing Power to Give gift cards. So we've got one version that that refers to gift cards, one version that does not, because I know not everybody is using gift cards across the platform. So we wanted to have two versions and welcome you using that. Use it in social media promotions, use it any way that you choose fit to introduce Power to Give to others. We'll be looking at what are the different variations and needs that we've got to maybe make shorter ones that might be good for PSAs or different promotional efforts. As you've got ideas, or if you want to use it in a unique way, please let Virginia know, and we'll do what we can to get different versions put together as needed. But we're excited about it and wanted to share that with you, and as an indication of some things to come. We're also working on some gift card marketing collateral that hope to be able to get to you next week, that talks a little bit about some flyers and collateral materials that maybe can be used at various cultural organizations at their various points of sale and interaction with their clientele that might be useful. And so excited about these things, and we'll continue to work with our marketing team and get you more and more collateral as it develops.
Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, as the case may be. Appreciate your time today. I'm watching the questions as they come in, and do encourage you all to ask questions as we go through our presentation. Ernest from Indianapolis says that our local PBS station may want to use this video to promote Power to Give, which is fantastic. So Ernest, if you need that in any other shape, we can happy to talk to you about that. I just have a couple of things to cover with everybody today. As you know, I began my full-time work with Power to Give in October, and I'm very excited about this opportunity. And part of my new responsibilities, or expanded responsibilities, is to provide support for each of you in your various locations. And the way I'm approaching that is to, first of all, make contact with each of you with a phone call. And I've talked to about half of you, and look forward to speak to the rest of you, hopefully within the next few weeks. But that will become a regular check-in, hopefully quarterly, perhaps every 3 or 4 months, just to check in to see how things are going. Really important that we have a system where we can share best practices, where we can learn about opportunities and challenges in each of the sites. And fundamentally, the bottom line for me is, how can we help you? You all are the critical component to the Power to Give network, and we want to make sure that we're providing the service and the information that you need to keep Power to Give relevant in your community. We also want to learn as much as we can from each of you, and in that regard, any best practices, success stories that you have, we want to promote those and celebrate those along with you. So as you find those on a regular basis, please share those with us, and we will get the word out on a national basis. My other role here is to manage the Charlotte site. So like you, I am a site administrator. And so just want to take an opportunity to tell you a little bit about what we're doing in Charlotte in the last couple of months. We are actively working with each of the organizations here. We have about 60 organizations that are eligible to participate, and we're encouraging them to think about, in addition to the matching funds that the Arts and Science Council is providing with their sponsorships and in the community, we're encouraging each of those groups to bring their own matching funds to Power to Give, and challenging their own constituents, either the folks that have already given to a Power to Give project, to have them to convert that into a matching gift for a future project. And we're getting a lot of positive feedback on that. So I encourage you to think about that as a strategy. If you're challenged to find additional matching funds, we encourage you to help the organizations by pointing out that they can bring their own. For the matching funds that we are securing, we have a couple at this point. We are timing those in a strategic way so that we try to have something on the system at any given point. We have most of our matching funds now are on a 50 cents on the dollar ratio, so the funds are going longer, and both the donors and the patrons like to see that. So that's an effective. We're finding that to be an effective strategy. My goal on the Charlotte site is to have each of the organizations posting 2 to 3 projects on the site in a given 12-month period. So that's what we're trying to push here in Charlotte. Some other things we're working on the national basis. We are having an increased use of social media. We want to make the global Facebook page far more active, trying to have a change, a posting every day there. Twitter feed, a couple posts a day if we can. And in that regard, we encourage you to share those best practices so we can share that on those vehicles, via those vehicles. You will see that we are already distributing a monthly power report, and those are going to all site users across the platform throughout the country. So each of your site users that are registered on the system will be receiving that monthly power report to talk about best practices. We're also looking every week. We look out at all the active projects and select one of them that's at about the 30-day mark and is at about 30 to 40% funding, and feature that as a weekly project. And so as your projects go through the pipeline, we will take a look every week and pick one of those and hopefully give them a little bit extra push. Another function that I'm working here with Laura and the ASC team is conducting research for funding, both here for the Charlotte site. We're also doing research for national funding sources. And if any of you have any national funding sources in your backyard who you think might be interested in a Power to Give matching opportunity, or just providing support for the infrastructure, please pass those names and contacts along to us, and we'll be glad to do the legwork on that. But any research or any national funding sources that you have in your neighborhood would be greatly appreciated. We are, as I have said, we are looking for content to promote nationally. So if you have ideas for best practices or some great projects that have come through that you can celebrate, or even to the point of having creative matching opportunities, please share those with Laura or Virginia or myself, and we'll be glad to get those out. The final thing I wanted to just remind everybody is to put some dates on your calendar. We have instituted a regular rotation of webinars, and we're trying to make these on the second Fridays and having one per month so that we can have a consistent application of that, providing that service to you. The next one on our schedule is basic training for those who are new staff members or folks who may be new organizations. Encourage them to attend on January 10th, and that's at 2. These are all at 2 o'clock on Friday. In February, we are going to have another one. We're renaming this one. This was called Marketing Projects, but we're going to rename it something to the effect of Reaching New Donors, because we hear that that's the number one concern that everybody out there is having, is how do we reach those new donors? So we're going to really focus on that issue on February 14th. So put that on your calendar as well. And our next get together like this one will be in March on the 14th. We'll have our quarterly summit. We'll do our best to get invitations out in a timely way, but we encourage you to, as you communicate with your posting organizations, to share those dates with them as well. So that's it for me. Let me go to the questions and see if we have another question here. Pam is saying, asking a question about the weekly project. If you, we're selecting the weekly projects on an objective basis. We run a report on the Power to Give nationwide and pick the one project that is closest to our criteria. So Pam, there's no subjective selection there. We just pick the one that's closest to our criteria for the weekly posting. We didn't want to get into any kind of subjective evaluation of one project versus another. Again, please keep posting your projects, or your questions actually, and I'm going to turn it back to Laura now.
Great, thanks, Perry. So I wanted to, many of you have had a chance to either interact with Virginia on phone or email, but wanted to formally welcome Virginia to the Power to Give national team. She officially joined the team on October 14th and has jumped in very quickly and is getting to know many of you and getting to know the site well, and is quickly becoming an expert in certain areas. Specifically, she is, first line of contact for you if you've got any questions on the site, but she's also administering all of the SharePoint activity on the network that we've created. She's also spending time with Google Analytics and other aspects of our platform support. And so what I'm going to do now is turn it over to Virginia, and she's going to share a little bit of some of the new materials that we've got on the SharePoint site and a little bit of some of the new materials that are on Google Analytics. So give me a second to change this. We'll see how.
All right, hello everybody. Hopefully you can all see my screen. As you can see, we are looking at the Power to Give SharePoint network, and I'm sure many of you are already very familiar with this amazing resource that we have available. And I wanted to let you know that we are updating things on this site all the time. So just keep in touch, come in and look at it whenever you can. When I'm posting things, I'm usually trying to flag it in our news and announcements, just right down through here. And I'm also archiving a lot of things in the Power to Give library. Now, Perry was talking a little bit ago about sharing all of your best practices, and here on the network is a great way to do that. We really want to encourage all of our site administrators to post materials on the network. We want you to share your success stories, post examples of your marketing materials, give examples of popular social media campaigns, really anything that you think might help to inspire our other communities. And we have such a creative group here with all of our host sites, and sharing these materials will really just help drive the continued success of Power to Give on a national level. And of course, that's just a win-win for everybody. In other exciting news, we're going to be posting some of our videos from our best practices workshop in Charlotte from earlier this year. And so we're going to have 5 15-minute videos, which we're going to upload with topics such as great headline writing and successful storytelling. So stay tuned, because that's going to be really exciting and a really great resource. So again, if you've got any videos you'd like to share, we will be starting to update those on the site. And one other thing I really want to flag today, I don't want to overwhelm you guys, but we have a great collateral resource for promotional materials. And you can find that if you just go up to resource lists here, and then down here to Power to Give collateral promotion items, we actually have a designated website from our Green Shoe marketing team. And you'll see that we've got lovely bags and pens, mouse pads, sticky notes, really anything that you would like to create to promote your community and Power to Give. Green Shoe Marketing basically says if you can dream it, they can make it. So if we want coffee mugs or messenger bags, they are happy to provide those things. And we also have some wonderful items we've already designed. One of my favorites actually is the pen. It's something that someone's going to use and see every single day, something you can easily hand over in a meeting. And we are actually lucky that they are on sale now until the end of the year. So something to keep in mind. Also, you'll notice that a lot of these items are large bulk. And so sometimes you might not need 1,000 pens, but they're happy to do ship splitting. So if any of you organizations want to get together and go in on, say, 1,000 pens or 500 mouse pads, if you either coordinate with me or directly with Green Shoe Marketing, they are happy to split that order for you. So it's a great cost saver, and also just a great way to kind of get a sampling of all the different materials that we have available for you. And yeah, really that's it. But if you have any questions, you can always get back to me. You can also contact them directly through their homepage. And let me just get back there. You can just scroll down, and there's a place to put in to send for questions and any emails. But yeah, definitely take advantage. And also, let's jump to the Google Analytics. I just wanted to talk about that briefly because they've actually changed a lot of their layout. So a lot of you have already got the login details for this, but when you log into the screen, you're going to see this is the first screen you run to. And the most important thing is our reporting page, which when you click on there, it's going to show us everything that's going on in the site. So right now, this is just an overall view of all of our sites and kind of our highs and lows. A lot of these highs are going to be our launches. And if you click on this little arrow here, you can drop down and actually select whatever site you would like to see. So if you wanted to focus on Atlanta, you can click that there and go back up. And you can see kind of where it's moving along, all the different visits, and what the proportion of new visitors and old visitors are. One of my favorite features also that I wanted to talk a little bit about is our landing sites, which will tell you a lot about how people are coming to the your website itself. And so it'll show you what your most popular projects are. Are you showing it through web advertising? Where are people coming from your site to look at Power to Give? And you can actually see that, for example, Puget Sound's got their project 2437, which is very popular. And if you just click there and click again, it'll bring up exactly what that project is. So it's Meet Your Matisse. And there's so many other things here that you can do. Google Analytics is an amazing resource, and I'm really interested to hear from you guys what you're hoping to find and how you want Google Analytics to be used. So, send me emails, let me know like what you'd love to see, what you'd love for us to start tracking, what you'd love for us to let you know about as far as our trafficking. So I think that that's pretty much it on my side. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it back to Perry, who's going to talk to you a little bit more about our end of year giving.
Thanks, Virginia. And just take this one last opportunity to, we've got about 1 or 2 slides left, so we're wrapping it up here. So if you have any additional questions for the good of the cause today, please post them now. Did get a comment from Ernest about the criteria for the weekly posting, and he's actually, his PBS station is actually featuring one project a week, and he's going to use those same criteria. So that's great, and I encourage you all to think about how you could use that weekly weekly project idea in your market. Just a couple of things on. Let's see. Let me get back to the slide here. I think we need to send it back over to Laura. The screen sharing, so I know what I'm talking about, which doesn't happen very often. But really, we want to talk about. I need to go to Laura. Okay. I want to talk about year-end giving trends. Encourage you to think about it. Yeah, we realize that we're getting real close to the end of the year, but it's still not too late to think about how you might utilize Power to Give in your year-end activity. It is pretty astounding what we're hearing from Network for Good and some of the other crowdfunding sources, that 30% of annual giving, online giving, happens in the month of December. And actually 10% of the donations they process come in the last 2 days of the year, which is pretty incredible, incredible statistic. So we encourage you to use Power to Give to take advantage of those trends with a quick PR campaign. You could focus that to, here in Charlotte, we're encouraging the groups to think about libunts, which in the fundraising world are last year but not this year. In other words, lapsed donors. See if you can reach folks who have not contributed in a few years. Tell them about the Power to Give projects that are out on your sites. Encourage your groups to think about that campaign. Also, if you have gift cards, it's a wonderful way to share the joy of the holidays with a gift card to friends and family. So just encourage you to think about those year-end giving trends and how to take advantage of those in your market. We think you might have some terrific success with Power to Give. Our next site call will be on March 14th, 2014. So we would ask you to put that on your calendar and make that a priority. We would love to have 100% of all of our sites represented on these calls, so that we know that we're exchanging this information with you in a timely way. We are recording this presentation, so that we'll have that available to you, and we'll let you know how to do that. If in case anybody on your staff needs to get updated on some of these activities. But I think if there are no other questions, we're going to start to wrap it up here. Let me pull back to my screen where I can see if there are any other questions that have been posted. Let's see. I don't see any other questions. Laura, anything else from you all? If not, I think we've come to the conclusion of the presentation. We're looking forward to working with you in the new year, and please keep in touch with us as we move forward, and how we can best support your efforts in promoting Power to Give and your organizations in your community. Appreciate your time today. Have a happy holiday season, and we'll talk to you soon.